more composure to reel in that last goal, but it could have gone either way a couple of times. And just overall great put there. Great work by both teams. An amazing game to start off that U20 women's division at EYUC 2019.
An absolute rip-snorter of a contest. The Czech Republic just having a little bit more in the end to take the win. And we see here, Leznik gets close, but it goes over her head. This is a fantastic adjustment from Nela Chalupova to make the catch, take the 13-12 victory, and that is going to bring a close to this contest here. More women's action in the under-20 division coming up next between Sweden and Russia. For our Ulti.tv crew here on Fanseat, for Christina Obermeier, I have been Benjamin Rees, and we will see you on the other side.
One minute.
Welcome back for live action at the European Youth Ultimate Championship 2019 in Poland. We've started this game for the U20 women's division, Russia facing Sweden, and we've just started with the Russians taking the first point on offense. I'm joined by Rachel Tojnarova here in the booth. She just coached her team, the Czech U20 girls, for a win against the Slovenians, which was a universe point debacle. And now we're with more women's action on the way. Rachel, how do you feel after that game?
Well, I am sort of exhausted, but I knew I was able to do that because it was the first game of the tournament, and also the only game for us today, as it is the case for most of these U20 teams. Christina Obermeier, thank you for joining me, and thanks for commentating our last game. Pleasure to finally meet you in the commentator stand as
I'm really
well.
excited.
We have seen a break, I mean not a break, but a turnover from the Swedish offense, from the Russian offense. But now they have taken the disc back and going to walk it to the end zone line for another chance to hold.
Yeah, so we saw the Swedish come out in a zone early on and put a lot of pressure on that Russian team, but now they've managed to capitalize and go back to get the disc in their hands.
They're now swinging it nicely from side to side. We have a deep shot to a pretty wide open player. And that's a grab by number 10. Zvonareva. And the Russians now knock it on the end zone, and a score by Ulyana Podolskaya, I believe. Was it? The number's quite hard to read. We're hiding here in the shade underneath the tents to escape this horrific hotness that's ruling currently the pitch number 1, which is artificial grass. So not very pleasant under this early afternoon sun.
It's crazy. The last game was very intense and a lot of wind here as well, but not a lot of wind meeting us here in the commentary booth as we get the heat from every side, and the Russians can hold for their first offensive point.
So the Swedes will now take the other side of the pitch, and the offense is going to be downwind.
Right. So apparently all of the best Swedish players are playing on their own line, so we'll see what they're gonna pull out for their first offensive point as we are underway.
So pull almost exactly to the break mark. Russians coming out in the zone as well. Swedes are gonna try to move the disc quickly. We have Edgren on the sideline, moving it to Angegaard. Angegaard manages to get the disc off to another handler.
And just seems to drop it. She just faked it so bad and just couldn't keep her hands to the disc as she...
Oh, yeah, that's exactly the case. But yeah.
No influence, but maybe just a little bit of chills at the beginning of that first game as the Russians have a red zone opportunity that they cannot convert on, just overthrows her fellow handler, and Swedish get another opportunity.
We get our producer Mike Palmer trying to move the players away from the 3-meter line, which is pretty clearly marked at this pitch, Christina.
Yeah, exactly.
But all the excitement from the stream game just getting the better of these players as our cameramen try to get the best possible view for you. And the Swedish now moving the disc quickly. We have the disc back to Angegaard in the middle.
Some great flow on that Swedish team as they slice through the Russian defense, but
Olsen doing a great job on the popping there. Now she's pulling away the second cup. She is wide open, but the handlers just seem too busy with their handler game. But now they see the opportunity.
A great over the top throw.
Olsen with the disc in the middle now. She's gonna take it back to the handlers.
A great grab by the Swedish player. Just a very heads up.
And beautiful throw by Angegaard. Beautiful visionary forehand pass into the end zone.
Viktorsson doing a great job of calling in that throw, and a great first offensive point for the Swedes.
And a cute little celebration in form of some dancing / clapping. Let's see that again.
Amazing
Nice
grab.
saving grab. And here again, the scoring pass.
Pretty sticky hands there.
So the Russians, I see, Christina, have quite a short roster
Very
compared
short
to
roster.
other. How many players? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. Is that possible?
Counting 15 players on that team.
Wow.
But I remember 2 years ago, in 2017, they had an equally small roster and made the final. Because, you know, Russia is coming into this tournament with a silver medal to defend.
Well, Christina, you don't really have to remind me as a Czech person that the Russians made the final.
Oh, I remember.
The rather controversial game, that one, the semis against the Czech team, who eventually managed to get the bronze medal. However, obviously these teams are strong teams coming. All of them are, I'm sure, looking to get a hand on some precious medals here.
I can imagine. And also, apparently this Russian team is very new, so not a lot of players returning and doing a second round of U20s. So yeah, maybe this other team can be challenged by the Czechs in a semi-final. You can get an opportunity to get some revenge on them, as we can see them swing it very patiently around. Not a lot of pressure on those handlers by that Swedish zone look.
Vasiukova now with the disc goes to Stakova. Oh, and a scoober, lefty scoober over the top.
Amazing look there, just very daring throw by the lefty.
Vasiukova not afraid to get the disc where she wants it. And she gets it again in the middle. Stakova. And the Russians just shy of the end zone.
Up to take a very far dump. Not a lot of movement there, just content to throw it within the handlers.
We see the first cap of the Swedes lacking behind, sort of forcing the around throws, forcing many passes, making the Russians swing the disc quite a bit. Stakova now again to Vasiukova. But Vasiukova's got that lefty forehand that she will take around. The Russians just patiently waiting for the opportunity to open up in the end zone.
Yeah, it's very clinical. Their play just taking whatever the Swedish defense gives them. Playing kind of his forced line zone.
Tatarinova now with the disc. She will again find Vasiukova. Oh, Vasiukova thought about the hammer for a bit there.
Oh, no, throw too high. So much patience on there, but just that last throw.
Eventually, Russians give it away.
Tatarinova just watching the disc go up a bit too high, and the Swedes get an opportunity to get a break early on in this game.
We will see if they have some power left for the offensive point, but straight away that corner, we have seen a couple of errors from that corner in the previous game. It's not an easy pass.
And it was always also that sidearm inside shot.
Exactly.
That just, you know, caught the wind a little too early.
A bit too ambitious for these young athletes, even though they are doing a great job. And this is just some great ultimate for you guys to watch back at home. You guys and girls, that's what I meant.
Everybody loving the coverage. Being here at fan seat. What a great spicy inside shot by number 63, Stakova.
Stakova with the assist. The Swedish defender just unable to set the mark on time, leaving the break side wide open for that easy pass into the end zone. Yeah, so Swedes doing a very good job forcing that turnover eventually, but it seemed like they had no power left for the offense.
Yeah,
right?
That's always a thing when you're playing a zone and run a lot and try to put pressure on you deep space and give an opportunity for the handlers to make a lot of passes. You create, you have a few players that are going to be very, very tired after running after the disc a lot. So it's going to be harder for them to reel in a break after that. So yeah, just they had a shot, didn't come off, but they did get an opportunity. And I think if they can work on like this and get a flow going, it will work eventually, since it's their first game of the tournament. So got to find those connections. I think it's gonna work out well for them if they can continue to put on that much pressure on their defense.
That's right. So the offensive lines of these teams so far will continue to try to score their or hold their offensive points going downwind, and it seems like there won't be much change in terms of zone defense from both of these teams.
Yeah, it's a good way to slow offense down, especially if it's very windy and throws over the top can get caught by the wind, as it's not happened with this one. Great put.
Kolmsche with the disc, centers it to Angegaard. Kolmsche again. Finding Larsson
with an amazing hammer just across the whole field. Great vision and so daring, but opening up a lot of space for the Swedish. And another blade for the goal.
Very good connection there. Also now on the receiving end of the Swedes. Just you could almost see having the two players, the eye contact there. It was just the defender was very close to the receiver, but they still managed to get it off because they know exactly where they want to put it and that the person's going to be ready for the catch. Let's have a look at that huge hammer.
Amazing.
Opening up the whole field. Beautiful read by Viktorsson.
And then getting it right off the dish, and then
just the Kolmsche just looking and putting.
Amazing play. And also it's not very surprising that these teams have a great respect and connection there, because this team has been the same since 2015
wow.
when they played in Frankfurt. That's what the coaches told me. The coaches have been along with the team since 2016, so everybody knows each other very, very well. They have some additions, but just only a few, about 5 players. And it's great. You can see that these players know their ability and just can connect on a lot of shots and a lot of daringness there, but very reasonable in my opinion.
Yeah, that's just very surprising to get such a big time slot for junior teams. But I must say this is slowly happening as we establish quite a strong U17 division in many countries.
Exactly.
You do get, you know, for some of them 2 or even
that
more
was
years.
Great grab. Great second effort grab by the Russian player. Just couldn't keep both of her hands and lays out for the one-handed grab in the end.
That's Zvonarieva.
Oh, and preservation of greatness. Just too quick with that up-to-line shots. Gives the Swedish D-line offense another opportunity to rule in a goal. Nobody actually to pick up the disc.
This is a bit more of an advantageous position for the Swedes right now, a bit further downfield. So if they can get the disc off the sideline, which they do.
Oh, great grab. Sticky hands.
That's Ingberg with the disc. Beautiful inside to the break side. Enel centering the disc to Lindberg. And a pick called.
Yeah, they have great movement over there. Just finding a lot of free unders and a good flow on that Swedish side. They seem to have finally got their connection going.
Keeping the disc centered as well.
A great arcing shot into the end zone for number 13.
Aurora Jonsson.
Amazing collection there. Great put by Lindberg, just opening up the field like that. And we've seen a lot of those arcing sidearms not work out throughout this tournament so far, but this one just greatly weighted and great put. like amazing blades from the Swedish side there.
Very good job. That's a first break of this point. Swedes going up by 1, forcing the Russian offense to pull on the shorter end of the string, going upwind. So as I was saying, Christina, I think that more and more nations are getting a lot more time with their juniors as the teams develop together from the U17 division to the U21. How does it look like in Austria?
Well, there's kind of been a downfall of U17 players, which is a pity. We still managed to put in teams and all the typical divisions. We did not bring a mixed team, but except for that, we have all the teams. But you know, just a little less interest in terms of very young players getting their heads all into Ultimate.
Yeah, I think in the Czech Republic, the difference that we made was when we managed to establish the high school league, where the players come into contact with the sport. They usually are picked up by their classmates, who basically tell them, you know, just come join us for this one tournament, and that's already where all of our junior coaches are, and who will tell them, I think you should come and sign up for the national team. You'll have great fun there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure playing on the Czech national team is great fun, as we saw you in the game before. Just I bet that was a great game, great fun for all the players on there. As we see the Russians work disc up the field with ease as the Swedes come out in a match defense.
And the Russians just very ready for that. They couldn't jump the disc in, but now they're on the doorstep, and just a quick dish.
Yeah, as we see that great up line cut, just, you know, a little shimmy to fake out the defender, and then just pops it into the end zone. Russia working it great in the small spaces and not leaving too much on this for the Swedish defense to take over.
That was Stakova again with the assist. No, yeah, with the assist, sort of trying to get into the end zone. But now she will get the up line to, was it Vasyukova? I believe so.
I believe so, yes. Great handler movement there from that Russian team.
So the sun's behind the clouds right now, so the players as well as the cameraman might as well enjoy a bit of the shade before they start roasting again.
It's just a very small cloud there, as we could see it for a second.
But not very many turnovers so far in this game, Christina, I feel like.
Yeah, they've been very clinical, both teams. As we see a huge pull come off out of the Russians for the Swedish to field there.
After I have seen yesterday's opening games by the boys with some very messy points, I am very surprised and proud of the women that I have seen so far in this division, where they just, you know, that's some grown-up ultimate they're showing us.
Exactly. I thought that when I played 2 years ago, there was not such precision, as we see a great throw collected by Viktorsson.
That's another grab for Viktorsson. She just seems to know exactly where to position herself. And Angeguat with a quick straight inside forehand into the end zone. Not worried about the upwind at all. Just precise dishes. And I really like those looks by the Swedish girls, just seeing exactly where the open player is, and regardless where they are, they just put it into the space for them to collect. Viktorsson, excellent job on that grab. We saw that again. Fakes the inside, doesn't take it.
And also Viktorsson would have had an opportunity to actually hold in the goal herself, throwing it, but she decides to push it over to another girl, just to, you know, keep their flow going and waiting for the perfect option to open up, rather than rushing a throw into the end zone, which is like a very, very calm and collected move that we can see from that young player. And as we already said, the division looks very collected, and the level looks so much higher than just 2 years ago.
I agree. I wouldn't really want to be standing there myself against these beasts little beasts. That's what I would call them.
Oh, actually, I would love to play right now, but sitting here in the shade also does something. And you get half of it while coaching.
That's true, exactly. You gotta make the best out of your own experience. So the Russians center the disc and put it deep straight away. There is an open player, but
Oh, and she throws herself at the disc to maybe get it, but
nice layout for the fans. Great effort by Stakova.
but no way she can get through that disc.
Oh, it's not Stakova. I'm sorry. It's number 23, which I don't have on the roster for some reason.
Pity.
That's okay. Now Swedes going the other way. They do have the wind behind their backs, so maybe some deep shots would be an option right now. And a hand block on the mark will send the disc to the ground, and the Russians have moved a substantial part of the field forward.
So they get another red zone opportunity.
Stakova picking up the disc, looking for Vasyukova. Vasyukova with a lefty forehand.
Great shot.
And finds wide open. And
But I
that's
think
probably why wide open.
there's a pick call on the field. So disc will go back into the hands of Vasyukova.
There were 3 players open in that break side, though. Let's have a look at that again.
It was a great shot to open up the whole break side, though.
The pick call will take the disc back. The mark is set this time.
Great
Up
handler
line.
movement.
By Vasyukova. And the Russians will take it around, but a bit of a too high of a backhand. These are rough throws to throw upwind. And now the Swedes respond with a turnover of their own, trying to pop the disc above the hand of the defender to the break side.
Do you think that was the tiniest bit of commentator's curse right there, talking about how clinical they're playing it?
That's just how it works, everyone. We're sorry. And Vasyukova and to the sideline. Now she gets it in the center again and sends another one of those signature forehands for 2 of her receivers in the end zone.
I'm glad there was the second play of Tatarinova holding in that goal.
Tatarinova eventually doesn't get distracted by her teammate and takes the score. So that's a Russian hold. Swedes will have to go upwind again.
Yeah, just great work of both teams, never giving up and playing intense defense. As we saw the wind just pick up a little bit, and it's already died down again, I believe. So very gusty wind conditions. As we can see some of those throws not coming off the way the receivers want them to, the throwers want them to. And getting a little bit of confusion on the field, but nothing those players can't work out.
That's right. So we will have the usual Swedish offense set up on one side, and a little bit of sideline action. The Swedes coping with the heat, being a Nordic nation. Angegaard with the disc. Moves it to Kolmsjö. Kolmsjö finding Edgren. Kolmsjö again.
Yeah, the Russians in kind of a poachy zone look. Maybe poaching off the handlers. And a great throw collected by number 37, Westwald, on the second attempt. I think that throw wasn't even intended for that throw.
Angegaard again with a deep shot forehand into the end zone. Easy collect by Viktorsson. Great connections there.
Yeah, I think the 2 players actually having a great connection, each one throwing to the other a lot. And
That's
that
right.
look as well, so pretty and calm and collected. Just, that seems to be a bit of a thing for them. Get it to Aurora Jonsson, and she will. Oh no, sorry, Angegaard, and she will put it in there, put it into the bread basket ride for another goal on the Swedish side.
Great awareness there by Westblad, saving the disc for their team and stealing a lot of meters actually, allowing for the later Angegaard-Viktorsson connection.
Right.
I wonder if it's a bestie thing.
I
Angegaard is number 18, Viktorsson number 19.
think there should be a connection like that.
It's gonna be something like that for sure.
Yeah.
Very even game so far. I wouldn't be the one to pick favorites in this one,
Oh,
Christina.
I don't want either. Benji and me were talking about how it would be so hard to pick favorites in the previous game, and I love how tight all these women's games are that we're streaming here for you.
And another pull by the Swedes.
The
Russian set up in a vertical line, but with the reset on the level.
great
And
hands.
almost a defense by the Swedes there. Russians standing really far, trying to open up the field.
As there's a run-through defense.
But
That
a
is-
foul called immediately.
Yeah.
The players will discuss. As the fans at home might have already noticed, there's no game advisors at the junior level right now here in Wroclaw.
As we can see that throw again. Just a run through by the Swedish player, but looks like the Russian player might have already had the disc in her hand, but they will send it back and contest it, which in this situation I think is a fair solution.
The players have been made aware that they can use the eagle's eye and come have a look at our replays at the camera if they do want to use that opportunity. But a huge hug goes up and is defended by number 12, Kolmskö.
Amazing heads-up defense there, pulling off her defender to get in front of that Russian play for the defense. And
Viktorsson now with the disc. She will find,
who else?
surprisingly, that Angegaard.
And Angegaard with
And
another
a deep shot to
amazing shot.
Enel. Enel beautifully opening up the space and reading the disc for another score. And not just another score, Christina, another break. So 6-4 currently the score in this hot afternoon Sunday game between Sweden and Russia. You are watching the U20 women's division here in Wroclaw, Poland. My name is Rachel Toshnerova. I'm from the Czech Republic, and I'm joined here by Kristina Obermeier from Austria. We're very happy to bring you some live action from EYUC as the teams go into timeout, the first timeout of the game.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea from the Russian team to call that timeout to, refocus, because they've been rushing shots there and taking shots they don't actually have to take, but, trying to get a deep shot off, but there was an option under every time. And, yeah, just trying to get a focus back on the game and getting points done after getting broken once or twice.
That's right. It's definitely nothing that the Russian team couldn't recover from. We have seen bigger upsets here, I think.
Oh, we have. Especially, for example, that opening game yesterday. How did you feel about that? It was intense. Czech Republic getting a lot of break opportunities later in
Christina,
every
I
half.
really do wish I hadn't seen that game. I really wish I wasn't even there, because I promised my girls one thing, and one thing only for this tournament. I said, I will try not to lose my voice until the last day. And I promise you that the first opening game of our guys did not help with that.
Yeah, I saw you helping out. And
It was either go home or get back on the field and help out somehow.
right.
It's I realized that I would probably hate for another coach to just jump on the on the field with me and start yelling instructions all over the place. But I just could not help it. For all of you who know me, are probably not surprised. However, I'm sure the Russian fans and the Swedish fans are more excited about what's about to happen on the pitch. Is Russia going to score the point and then get some of those breaks back? Sweden is preparing with the pole, and the Russians are going downwind.
It's a great pull by Sweden.
We have Gerasimova with the disc and an immediate deep shot by Vasyukova.
Amazing put there, an amazing grab by number 8.
Kazakova, what a read.
Dishing it back to Leontieva.
And Leontieva finds somebody open in the end zone, but it seems like that person has again only been open because of a pick call, which was called before the throw. So Leontieva will take the disc back and is now
Great around throw.
Oh, and an unfortunate throwaway. That disc just stick into the hand of the player. That was Kazakova with the unfortunate throwaway there.
Yeah, it's a pity. Maybe just a bit of chills at the beginning of that week, but you know, you can't do that against a team like Sweden, because they will punish you with capitalizing for next goal.
So
as they're on the way.
that's Ingberg with the disc. Now moving it to Enel. Enel. And missed D there.
Great try.
As Unget Frank catches the disc.
Kazarova is jumping in front, but
call
Kazarova
stopped the game yet again.
Kazarova jumping in front there, but just missing out on the disc, leaving the player open for a few seconds to just put it wherever. But back on the mark now. And the throw away just.
And
might
yeah,
have,
no
might have
hand
been a
on
hand
that.
block.
I think it was just another slipped forehand.
So maybe the hands are very sweaty, and
Yep.
the disc
That
wants
might
to
be
stay
it.
in there for a little bit longer, because we've seen a lot, like a couple of those.
So we have Leontieva handling back with Vasyukova. And another forehand error. That was number 10, sorry. Elizabeth Zvonarieva. Larsson will pick up, finding Lindberg.
Back to Larsson again. Great work by the handlers.
Johansson now on the sideline, moving the disc to Ingberg.
What an amazing layered D attempt.
Löw now with the disc, putting it back to Ingberg. Ingberg fakes the break throw, but then gets it off. Oh, and a deep shot goes up. There are two players underneath. Who's gonna read it better?
Oh,
It's gonna be the Russian defender.
and the collision on the field, the Russian defender just, ooh.
Oh,
And
that
she's
wasn't
not very
friendly.
happy. No, she's not very happy about that contact. The Russian defender jumping up very, very high, but didn't even see that Swedish player and bumping into her.
I completely agree, Christina. As much as Russians tend to be controversial teams in terms of spirit and etc. at some tournaments, I don't think that this was the defender's fault at all. She was really just going to play the disc, and she didn't see the player behind her at all.
Exactly.
So maybe we'll get a replay of that later on. However, Russia is now going to get away from that sideline.
I actually hope both these players can talk about it. Call me after this point is finished.
Kazakova moving the disc to the center. Now the disc back on the sideline with Leontieva. Leontieva finding Kazakova.
Great toe there, keeping her feet in bounds.
Kazakova to Vasyukova. Vasyukova to Kozirieva. Back to Vasyukova.
Oh, great layout defense. Amazing composure by Lindberg to get the hand on the disc as we can
Let's have a
see
look
the
at that again.
replay.
Wow.
Look at that.
What a jump.
Getting horizontal. Lindberg doing a lot for the Swedish team as they take a timeout just to calm things down a bit. Seems very heated in the middle of the pitch here, and
I'm sure that the last thing these players want is to let the emotions get the better of them. The situation was obviously unfortunate, but maybe the Swedish player was just more dissatisfied with herself and just sort of mad at herself for not reading the disc better or not being able to get up there.
I can imagine a lot of frustration not getting off.
So we will leave you guys with a couple of snaps from the game. Right now it seems like our crew has chosen the anti-highlights for you.
Oh, we can see that shot again. Very arching sidearm blade as she just clearly jumps higher and gets a better position. But then, actually,
yeah, like I said, there was I don't think there could have been any thoughts of the contact being intentional from the defender.
No way. I think the defender didn't even know the player was in her back like that.
That's right.
And obviously both people went up to get the disc. But also the throw, I don't know if you've actually seen this, but the throw was a ballerina fake kind of away, turning away and then immediately throwing a sidearm huck. So it might have been a high stall situation where the only way to get the disc off and to prevent a stall out would be throwing a blade to the end zone, which they did. So, you know, if you have one of those looks, sometimes it's okay if it doesn't come up, because having the field position right at the end zone line is better than on the other line.
Exactly, I agree. So as the teams come out of the timeout, the Swedes set up in a side stack with an isolation on Gukova, and a turn generated right away.
I think that's a turnout. You heard of that?
No.
A turnover after a timeout.
A turnout, okay.
Yeah. So if people call a timeout to, regroup and great shot there, but just too far in front.
Just out of reach of
our mysterious number 23.
Yeah, our mysterious number 23. As she will walk past the commentator booth, we will make sure to try to read her name on her jersey. The Russians being one of the few nations, together with Sweden, though, to have their names written on their jerseys, which does help as long as it's
readable.
Readable, yeah.
Exactly. So, a turnover immediately after a timeout, call it a turnout. And that's exactly what happened there. But Sweden get another opportunity to tune in for a goal.
The Russians poaching a bit in the open lane. Oh, and here it is. They get the disc straight back. And a break shot into the end zone. Yet another one of those. And that's a score by our mysterious number 23.
And spiking the disc in frustration a bit because that point took so long, but could reel it in, and they're back on the board with a 5-2-6. As we can see that beautiful break shot again, sticky hands by number 23 to haul in that goal. Also, if you're a Russian player and watching this live stream here, you can get in touch with us and tell us who that mysterious girl is, number 23. You can find me on Twitter at _C_OBE and on Instagram at Christina Obermeyer, joined by my friend Rachel Tojner-Rover. You can also find her on Twitter and Instagram, I believe.
Just Instagram, I apologize. But if you guys want to go for it, if you fans want to go for it, it's Rachel KA5. I'm online on my phone right now, so if you feel like it, please feel free to contact us. The pull rolls out, and the Swedes will take it to the... No, they won't take it to the break mark. They will go immediately for the upline cut into the power position, but no continuation there. Larsson finding Angeguad. Angeguad takes it around to Kolmsjö. Kolmsjö to Larsson. Now forward to Viktorsson. Kolmsjö. Angeguad. Oh, and a run through the
great run through defense.
by
Heads
Kazakova.
Heads up play by the young player. Amazing, and the Swedish player just maybe didn't expect that much intensity by the defense and managed to get that defense there. And as we have Vasyukova to pick up and go around.
First break opportunity for Russians. If they can keep the disc alive, Vasyukova moving the disc to the sideline. Now she will try to get the upline, but there's a poach there. But Vasyukova still manages to get the disc eventually.
They're trapped on the sideline now, very hard to get out of that position, but do that great. And amazing shot over at the break side for Mamontova for the goal. Great continuation and using the wide open play in the middle of the field to get that break on.
What an exciting turn of events now, Christina. Russians scoring upwind, getting that D, baiting those up, in cuts, and eventually getting that run through D, and then working patiently to take it around. You said the further sideline is a difficult spot to get out of, but not for Vasyukova and her lefty throws. Very good job getting it to the middle for that easy swing pass into the break side for Mamontova.
Right, so
the Russians are back.
Yes, we're all tied up at 6 now.
No, I think it was 2 breaks, so this is just 1 break back, so 7-6 should be.
Right. Getting a little confused with our score.
But weren't they 2 breaks up? Now I'm very confused about the score. Never mind, we'll figure that for you as the game progresses. And the Swedes start on offense again in their side stack with their isolation.
But that
put up a deep shot for Angeguad, but unfortunately that one's going straight out of the field.
All right, so we've approved the score 6-6. I believe Russia started on offense with the game, and then the Swedes broke twice to get the lead, but then Russia got 1 break back.
You got it down, Christina. Thank you. So glad I have somebody to have my back at the booth. I am not the best at figuring out these things. Not the score, not the system. I just know how to play, in the moment.
Just saying, you're very good at ultimate, though, and coaching.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and what a intended layout grab, but the disc just bumps off the palm of the Russian player.
Kazakova, I believe, just couldn't keep that in her hands, as we see a great icon ball into the hands of, wow.
And Olsson unable to complete that pass.
Olsson just a little bit too happy about that great inside shot that she
managed to get off,
Yeah, managed to get off that. Just couldn't keep her hands to it again, as Russia gets another opportunity for the break. But has to work it out all the way.
So sideline, Swedish sideline especially getting very active, supporting their defensive player. Oh, and this is going to be called out. So the Swedes, again, just shy of the end zone. Golmske with the disc.
Let's see what they're going to do. They want to work in a small field, but finally get off the reset.
Angegaard now.
The wide open player.
And that's Larsson for the score.
Vasyukova gave up a little bit on that up the line shot. She knew she was beaten
And yeah,
in that
just
position.
left. Yeah, just decided not to put the effort in.
And sometimes, you notice it's only 15 players on that team. Maybe she knew she wasn't going to get there, and so she decided to, step back a bit and then focus on her offense the next time she will be on, and maybe keep some of that energy inside, which is...
I think you're right. I think that it is these games on the artificial turf in this horrible heat where just short rosters won't do. They will give the other team the extra tiny bit of advantage they might need to win against you. Because as we can see, the level of these teams is just very, very even. Both teams punishing the opponent's mistakes. And it's just all these little things that eventually add up and that might lead to victory. It might be the louder coach, Who knows?
Yes. That's often, also sometimes it's not even the louder coach, it's the louder sideline that the Swedes clearly have by having an advantage of 4 players. So, 4 voices and 8 eyes more on the sideline can sometimes just, change the momentum.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I said that to my girls. I said, I want us to show 2 things on the stream. I want us to show that we have our head in the game, that we're ready to play, all the players on the sideline actively working with the players on the field, sort of everyone with their head in the game. And second, just play, show some nice displays of spirit, like using the hand signals, making sure that everybody at home knows what's happening, all the fans here in the stands as well. So the Russians now back on offense, a nice inside shot to, I think that's number 23, and I already know who she is. It's Koshmanova.
Oh, great. And just as Koshmanova wants to throw in the middle, they'll turn it over. Just couldn't keep her hands to it. And Sweden with a short field opportunity to get another break up here.
And that's Viktorsson with the disc. Again, the disc is moving quickly in the hands of the Swedes.
An amazing inside shot, just not quite in there.
But what
Lindberg
by Lindberg.
Yeah, we've seen Lindberg throwing her body around, all over the place, and just couldn't keep her hand on the disc. And
just out of reach.
Great shot there. The Swedes' apparently favorite shot, that around sidearm into the end zone, but Russia gets another opportunity as Vasyukova is taking the disc to the end zone line. So what do you think we will see out of that Russian team?
Well, I think that Vasyukova right now has got her backhand open as she's a lefty, so I wonder if they will use that opportunity.
Yeah,
They will just use it to center the disc. That's fine too. Leontieva now on the disc. And another missed throw and picked up by the Swedish defense. Again, a very short field to go down. Oh, and another miscommunication on the other side. Angegaard wanted to stay back, but Larsson wanted her to go forward.
As we see a great shot by, who else? Number 7, Vasyukova, but defended by Viktorsson.
Viktorsson, yeah. Great read on that disc. I think the Russian player had the extra inches there. Unfortunately, not the best position, or Viktorsson got herself into a very good position.
This is turning out to be a very long point, Rachel.
That's right. Swedes really wanting that extra break, just making sure that they stay with the 2-point difference.
This pick call on the field, very, very free player. Aurora Johnson. 2-3, in my opinion. I think the Russians would agree on that.
So Angegoat will self-check the disc, move it to Aurora Johnson. We're back to Angegoat with no defender on her currently. She will not wait for the mark and move it straight forward as she goes for the upline. And right on the end zone line.
Oh, an amazing put over the top.
Oh, what a play. If that had worked out, that would have been so exciting.
That would have been the play of the game for sure.
I
Just
mean,
very daring, put it over the top, but just could not keep in that.
I mean, we see that that's exactly what they wanted to do. They knew that it was going to happen.
Exactly.
It was that one-on-one play where it's so easy to put the disc anywhere as long as your teammate is aware of the play happening.
Yeah, I think she was aware, but the disc just a little bit too high for her to reel it in. As we're at the same situation once again. EYUC2019 coming up with this, centering it. Not a lot of movement. Oh, as they call a timeout to regroup and get some energy back. It's very intense game, a long point for both of these teams, and the Russians look very tired by now, only rotating a small roster. Must be very, very exhausting for those young players.
Christina, have you been able to find out from the coaches whether some of these players have played in Heidelberg at the U24 Worlds?
Yes, so on the Swedish side, they went there with a mixed team, and 8 out of the 9 women that played in Heidelberg are here right now playing for this women's team.
Wow.
So it was a very young team that was very ambitious. So yeah, they got to get another bit of connection in Heidelberg, playing in the mixed squad, and I think you can see that those girls are not opposed to playing mixed as well. So through some of those shots they're taking, some of those grabs are, you know, something.
I think mixed is an excellent division for all players who just are looking to improve their game in sort of new directions. It is just something that teaches you another side of the game. It just teaches you connect with all kinds of different players, make you more aware of the space and of the play happening around you. It's not just like dumb running, you know?
Exactly.
I call it dumb running. I mean, it could be a very exciting match of D or something like that, but you know, in a sense, it's just dumb running.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to improve some other new parts of the game, I strongly encourage you to go try out the mixed division. It's also great fun to mingle with the other gender.
Yes. That was a great fun part about that. And also, I know some of the Russian girls have played on the mixed squad at EUC, actually. They have not been in Heidelberg, but at the European Championship earlier this summer. There's so much action around Europe. We had the EYUC in Portugal, where I believe some of those Russian girls were as well. I think I remember matching up with Stakova, one of the preparation tournaments. And also we had EYUC, we had EUC, we had the World Under-24 Championship, and now we have U20 action right here in Wroclaw, Poland, as the disc is checked back in, and the Russians have an opportunity to take it to Galaxy Point, actually.
So EYUC2019 on the disc. Oh,
just bubbled
and just a slip by Koshmanova. And this is an opportunity that the Swedes have been waiting for. Again, just shy of the end zone. This might be it. This might be the break opportunity that the Swedes will finally make work. And a lefty high release backhand will do that for the Swedes as Maja Aurora Jonsson collects the disc in the break side. And again, Swedes go 2 points up and take the half. Wow.
That was an amazing put.
What a way to finish the half. What a way to come out from the timeout. What an unfortunate turn of events for the Russians, as the error wasn't really forced in that last point, mostly just a wobble and a slip by Koshmanova. However, we will be back in about 7 minutes after the halftime is over, and we will leave you with some beautiful highlights such as this one, high release Letty. See you in a bit.
Don't go away.
Oh, this is from fucking Eurovision. Is that this year or last year? This is a couple of years ago. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We should just download a bunch of deep, like tropical house stuff. That's my close personal friend. They're Moldova. Yeah, I was trying to think before, but one of them is on my team. Oh, so you see it as a but yeah. Oh, when you see it, it's very high again. Yes, well, definitely. Yeah, so the first week is back. It's like, I'm not sure. I've got her big yeah. Well, at the bottom end it is, yeah. Good thing that you can all like that. Basically, white Quite off-screen in the sun. Well, there's really no basically there's loads of like you catch chickens and eventually they all get mad and they start attacking.
Either way. All right. Welcome back to the under 20 action at EYUC. We have Russia taking on Sweden, and we've got quite a game so far. Just a lot of turns and great plays by both teams, and Sweden just getting the upper hand a bit in the end of that first half.
Exactly. We saw 2 breaks from the Swedish, then Russia getting a break back, and then again Sweden finishing strong, taking the halftime by scoring yet another break.
Yeah, they did a great job of containing the Russian athleticism. We've seen some great plays and super strong young athletes on both teams. And I'm really excited on how this game will work out as we see Russia pulling for Sweden to get the second half on their way.
The Swedes will be looking to add 1 more point to the scoreboard with a huge deep throw by number 55, Larsson, and a easy collect by Angegaard, even though there were 2 defenders around her. Angegaard now looking in the end zone again, doesn't take the inside, moves the disc around. Angegaard again, she's got the disc in the middle now. This could be an easy score, but they will take the chill option.
A lot of patience there by the Swedes, not trying to make the big play, but easy throwing it around and handling.
But eventually generate the turn by turfing the disc. Another forehand that did not find the intended receiver.
Yeah, we've seen a few of them so far, but a bit of a commentator's curse there.
And a pick call as the Russian player tries to cut through the stack.
As the disc will go back in at 5, I believe. It's a rather high stall for the Russian players, as they can easily get off that dump. And Vasukova in a power position there.
Doesn't take the shot. They will take it around once more. And we now have Zvonarieva with the disc. Back to Vasukova, and Vasukova with a deep shot.
Great defense.
Which was anticipated by the Swedes. That was number 79, Lindström, with the disc. With the D, sorry.
So yeah, rather patient until Vasukova is just ripping one deep, and another opportunities for the Swedes to roll in a break to start the second half.
Vestblot just casually walking around the field. And now Larsson unable to run the disc down. The heat getting the better of these players.
Exactly, just to throw a little bit too far up in front. I think if she, with a layout, She might have tipped the disc, but it was very far out in front. A little bit of a miscommunication maybe, as the Russians get a red zone opportunity into the hands of a Swedish player.
They just seem to be all over the place, these Swedes, anticipating the in-cuts from the Russians and then just getting right in front of them to snap the disc. We have a deep shot by Gonskö and a great read by Renström. She's just on the end zone line, waiting for some cutters to move her way. And a beautiful forehand, nicely read by Ankergaard. She's been just amazing for the Swedish teams here, throwing this, catching them in the end zone, just doing whatever is necessary to add yet another nail into the coffin of the Russians. That's 9-6 for the Swedish.
Yeah, and we can see a bit of a lead established on the Swedish side. They're very confident with their sidearm around throws, just amazing stuff there. And as this game is showing a bit of a determination in terms of the Swedes taking a lead, we can look at some other stuff that's happening, going on right here. We have the Italian women taking on Poland and winning this matchup 14-1, probably 15-1, and this is Pool B of the women's U20.
That's right. So we have two pools in the U20 division for the women, with 6 countries in each pool. The previous pool has been played out in the last time slot. Now we have this Pool B playing out here at field number 1 and 2 other pitches down in this area. We have. How did the last time slot end up, Christina?
So we saw an amazing universe points game between Czech Republic and Slovenia, where Slovenia just went down and Czech took the lead. It took the win on a great double game point. Germany pretty dominantly running over Ireland 15-4, and Austria beating the Great Britain women 15-11, which is special pleasure for me hearing that, because there's not a lot of players on that Austrian U20 team. There's only 15 players, and I think 14 actually 100% fit to play the points.
I see. I think coming into this tournament, a lot of the coaches and the players ask themselves, you know, what are the squads going to look like this year? How many people, how many players will be returning? How many, what teams will get the upper hand? What teams will dominate the championship? But after the first day, I think a lot of these questions will be answered just by seeing the scores of the individual games that will get played out today. So back to the action on the field. We see the Russians moving forward quite quickly, now pretty close to the end zone. They will take the disc around, and an inside forehand will be stopped by the poaching Svea Lindberg.
I loved her smile and the way she
didn't have to lay out this time,
no,
did she?
not this time. Just a great defense anyway.
Overall, I feel a very different energy from the Swedish team than the Russian team. You see the Russian team sort of very tired coming off the points and even switching from offense to defense, whereas the Swedes just seemed very fired up and ready to play either way.
Exactly. I feel like the Russians have a bit of a very strictness in their being, whereas the Swedes are just looking like they're enjoying their every move and just enjoying they're able to play here, whereas the Russians are very, very strict and just very clinical with all of their plays and whatever they're doing on the pitch.
Matilda Ingberg with a D there. Another opportunity for the Swedes against, again, their signature side stack isolation play.
And a great defense.
But look at that, Christina. They lose the disc, but they're immediately ready to go play the D again.
Right. They get some great composure there.
Vasyukova with an inside lefty forehand to number 21, Kisieva.
There's a wide open Russian player.
Leontieva to Gabitova. And Gabitova with the assist.
A great work there from the Russians, just taking whatever the Swedes are giving them. Exactly. They were ready for defense, but I think maybe they were not on the same page in terms of forcing. So there was a wide open player on the opens and on the open side, and which Vasyukova hit perfectly, and then there was just a little bit of a dish off. As we can see, a great layout attempt by the Swedish player, and Russia's just rolling that in for the score. But both of these teams seem to, have a little bit of an energy drop off now. Games are long. Those young players are not often so used to playing for such a long time and keeping their energy and their concentration up for very intense matches for a long time. So, well, as a coach, how do you cope with that?
I just, I try to not make them think about it. I make sure that they get all the hydration. I have all the staff that we have available, bringing them drinks all the time. I always send them to keep fresh. I try to keep the warm-ups shorter and concise, give them some shade time, make sure that they don't think about it too much, and sort of emphasize staying in the game and having their head in the game. Because if you're emotionally invested enough in what's happening on the field, I feel like it doesn't matter what the conditions are. You still feel them, but that could be anything. And a deep shot goes up and is again read beautifully by Angegaard. And Angegaard with a forehand to the end zone, which turns slightly away from the intended receiver, but still a very advantageous position for the Swedes to start their D. Just very, very courageous play there from the Swedes. No respect, really.
Exactly. And a deep shot goes off the other way.
And this one, Viktorsson does not come victorious out of that matchup. Beautiful read by Kazakova. Kazakova now to the side to Vasyukova. Vasyukova will try to center the disc to Kozirieva, I believe it is.
Yes, I believe so too.
The Russians again setting up the stack quite far away.
As there's a pick call in the middle of the field.
And those nice insides that we see, or that I saw at EYUC from the Russian senior national team, where they just do a nice strong cut to the open side, but then go for the quick dish to the break side. And another deep shot by the Swedes.
Is it hang long enough? No.
Won't be round down by Renström.
Just a little too far out in front. Maybe those legs a bit tired now, and just you want to take an extra second of just waiting for the actual cut to establish and trying her best. So we can see that great grab again from the Russians.
On the other hand, I don't think this is a bad idea, as you can see that the Russians are unable to get the disc anywhere further away, and the Swedes just knowing that they have more legs, and that's the advantage. They don't really need to score in a nice, clean way. They just need to make the Russian players as tired as possible.
Yeah, right. And they get another opportunity here with a pick called again. A lot of confusion in the stack, and so we have about 10 more minutes to this game. Oh, and a turf disc. Number 19, Viktorsson, trying to get, and a rip backhand throw to the end zone. It's gonna be rimmed down. Amazing.
Wow, what a grab by Zvonarieva. She is definitely a receiver to watch out for, opening up the space, and Vasyukova with no hesitation and finally making use of the backhand deep shot.
Yeah, she did a great job there, just opening up the field and throwing open her receiver on that far side of the pitch. And just a perfectly weighted throw, the exact thing that both teams tried a lot during this game, but Vasukova working it all for the Russian team and getting that throw in. As we can see the replay, easily collected by number 10's Svonareva. Sorry about that. My pronunciation, I'm doing the best I can.
We truly are, believe us. But if you do want to give us some tips, don't hesitate to contact us at Instagram, RachelKA, and then number 5. Christina will tell you her Twitter account.
Yeah, I'm at _C_OBE on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at Christina Obermeyer. Just shoot us a message. Show us you're tuning in on Fancied for this live action of the U20 EYUC 2019.
And just let us know if the Russians are going to come up with a huge comeback or not. And as I say that, they almost get a D by Koshmanova there, running down the pole. But now the Swedes moving quickly with another huge shot. And and a misread by Viktorsson. A very uncharacteristic misread by a common receiver for the Swedes.
Yeah, the young number 19 shirt for the Swedish side, just doing so much on the downfield part. But as we see a wide open Russian defender is just overthrown. And the Swedes can take
Gabitova unable to get there.
Yeah, and the Swedes take another opportunity of getting an upwind point on the board.
They get it off the sideline a little bit. Centering. Oh, and an unfortunate drop by Renström.
You can see some intense defense and offense on both sides of the disc here. Some great stuff, and Vasukova will pick up back for the Russians.
Leontieva now with the disc. She will overthrow Mamontova.
That's been the story of this point so far, overthrowing, just maybe not recognizing that the legs are a little tired at the end of this intense game here, as we see another defense.
I think at this stage, it's just very difficult for the handlers to recognize that these legs of the receivers are getting just way too tired on the turf. I think it might be a good option for them to maybe switch it up a bit so that the handlers go and run if they do know how to do that, which I'm sure they do.
I'm pretty sure they all do.
And we've got Leontieva with the disc again, finding Vasukova. And Vasukova with that lefty forehand, defended, denied by Angegoat. And the Swedes are not ready to give up a single of these points for Russia.
Yeah, they're putting their everything out on the line to get that upwind hold. So we see a beautiful inside shot there. Swedes just move it around easily, as I'm saying it.
And Vasukova getting in front of her player. Olsson there just clapping hands with her, acknowledging that the defense was clean. And we have Leontieva picking up the disc.
As we see a great inside around, greatly collected by the Russian player there.
And here we go. That's a break for the Russians. Yeah, they will keep us on our toes, Christina.
Yes,
just as we think as that they are not ready, they have given up and they're too tired, and the heat has just taken the better of them. We realize that they're not done with this game yet. So now it's time for the Swedes to take a timeout to sort of keep their composure and As the wind picks up, they will be lucky to cool down a little bit during this hot game. But very, very good performance for the Russians, not giving up there. They might look tired, but it seems like in their head they know exactly what the plan is.
You see that amazing sidearm throw here to number 8 Kazakova for the goal, for the Russian break, and just amazing stuff there, just rolling in the goal in the end. And this timeout, just a very needed thing for both of these teams, especially because the Russians are so little players, just a very, very small roster, and you know, just needing that energy to stay up for another 10 or something minutes, because after that this game will be over and going into cap and then finish out.
Maybe we'll get another universe. I'm sure that was the
I'd
fans
love
would
that.
like to see. Christina, we have talked a little bit about the juniors divisions growing, but you have also mentioned that a lot of these players have participated in senior tournaments this year. What's your opinion on junior players being part of senior national teams?
You know, I feel like if a country needs those junior players to compete in a senior championship, it's great to get some younger players in for this, for the action of a European championship that is obviously an even bigger event than a junior championship like this one. But also, you know, I don't want to see any of the young players burnt out after a couple of times competing with the senior level. And also, if therefore the juniors level teams cannot be portrayed in with all their strengths that the country has, it's also a loss for, you know, the
viewership and everyone.
Exactly.
The community. I
Exactly.
completely agree. We had a U17 player on our team in EUC, and I personally told her that I 100% agree that she has the skills and the commitment and attitude to be on that team. On the other hand, it's 2 weekly tournaments, so much strain on the developing body. Just not 100% sure that's worth it if you have, you know, maybe even 20 plus years of career ahead of you. Anyway, so let us know your thoughts on that. Juniors in the senior divisions, yes or no? Meanwhile, on the field, Sweden is back on offense, going downwind. We've got Angegård with another one of her deep shots. This one, the forehand, will float away from the receiver to out of bounds.
Yeah,
and
just
the Swedes giving the Russians another opportunity for a break, which I'm sure they're hungry for.
oh, they're very hungry, I'm pretty sure, but also rather tired by now, probably. And I think they're taking every opportunity it can get, but you know, I don't know. I don't know if the
scoop up the rest of their energy to get the most important, maybe, point of the game.
Yeah, because we're all tied up here, 9-9, as we can see some great flow and a near defense by the Swedes.
The Russians now need to get aggressive. Oh, and a catch. Zvonareva backing up her teammate there, who slipped and was fouled. That was Podolskaya.
Podolskaya looks like she's a bit shaken up.
That was quite a stamp on her heel there.
Didn't actually see that.
But Zvonareva was ready to back her teammate up.
Yes.
So there won't be. I don't think the disc should go back. I think it should stay with Zvonareva. And the Russians will move forward with a self-check. Zvonareva, not the strongest thrower on the team, but she manages to get it off to Vasyukova. And Vasyukova has got that backhand open. She will try to center, but a turnover is forced by tight match of D by the Swedes.
Yeah, Gerasimova can't quite hang on to it, as the Swedes are getting that disc back to try and hold their O point after getting broken once already.
This will be quite difficult to force the Swedes to give up the disc again. think Russia should have been a little more aggressive on that offensive possession there. Now we have Olsen with the disc, and she will. Oh!
Wow, a great collection there.
She was looking for Edgren in the end zone, but a beautiful layout grab saves the day for the Swedes. Yeah.
I think it was Aurora Jonsson who came up with a great garbage catch, collecting and putting another point on for the Swedes. And I think that was crucial for the team because they, they got down, went down and let themselves be broken by the Russians and let them get a point back on them. And as we see that again, a great layout, great quick reaction by the Swedish player there.
Awesome awareness. We'll have another look over here. Like I said, yeah, the Russians unfortunately unable to convert that turnover that they managed to force, or mostly which was handed to them by the Swedes on a silver platter in form of a throwaway huck. I think if Vasikova used her lefty backhand or deep backhand a little more, that might give them the extra push or advantage that the Russian team needs to get back on the Swedes. However, the time is not over yet. We still haven't heard the time is over signal from the volunteers, I believe.
Yeah, we've got about maybe 13 more minutes because games are 100 minutes long.
And the Russians now going downwind. And yet another D by the Swedes. These girls are so pumped up. And was that? Yes, it was. It was Lindback again with one of her signature layouts. And this might be it, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. That is Sweden. Number 31, Enel with the score, reading the pass perfectly. And another of those celebrations by the Swedes. And that's not what the Russians were going for.
No, but you talked about signature moves. That's all the Swedish do. Those signature moves of laying out and then throwing those great side arms, flick over the top of all the other plays and just collecting every single one. Well, a lot of them. Not every single one, but
I'm very, very impressed by the Swedish matchup D. It seems like they know exactly that where their strengths lie, and they have been getting so many turns out of those baited in cuts, so to speak, where they just wait behind that player and get in front of them at the right moment, be it with a run-through D or a layout. Just excellent job getting the breaks they need, not allowing the Russians to get too close or let alone getting ahead. So 11-9 the score for Sweden. The game is slowly closing, slowly coming to an end. The Russians really need to fight for every disc, for every point. They have one of the last few opportunities to hold their offensive point right now and then come back on the tight D. So as we see a deep shot to number 8, Kazakova. She will tap it on the end zone line and put it into the end zone. Just what the Russians needed. That was Shepeleva with the score. Exactly what they were looking for. Now that's a different story, Christina.
Yeah, it's a great haul. It reminds me of the start of the game where both defenses were tight and they played match, but both offenses just, converted and took all the open options. Exactly. Like that amazing deep shot by the Russian player, just taking whatever they needed and put it in easily, calmly, and not forcing anything, but just, going with the flow and using the open options they actually had. As we can see that easy inside
for the score.
And
that was again Zvonarieva. Zvonarieva being actually one of the players on the Russian teams that I always see smiling on the sideline and sort of very enthusiastically running to her teammates every time she gets the opportunity. So I applaud that. I think that's very great. You always need these players on your team that always stay optimistic and positive. And they're executing exactly what they need to right now, this Russian team. Basically, you need to get some breaks back. Your offense better be quick and clinical so that your players have some leftover energy to run down the pole, as the Russians do right now. They have Koshmanova ahead. She's going to set up the mark. And an aggressive matchup D by the Russians. Swedes hitting the under so far. That's Kalmsche with the disc. Moving it to Larsson. But a foul called by Westblad. I didn't quite see the play there, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it was just an overthrown up the line kind of shot, but then...
So it was maybe for Larsson, but Westblad just happened to be there in that space.
Apparently. And she's calling a foul on Stakova because she says she was pushed at the back.
I'm not sure. Didn't quite see the play there, so I'm not sure which way the throw was going. Well, this is just getting some extra time to the Russian players to relax and work harder on the D, but...
You can see that replay once again. Both of those players slightly misreading it, but I think she claims that when she wanted to turn, she got hit by the Russian player.
On the other hand, the way the disc was moving, we couldn't, we don't have the best view, but
it looked like an overthrow, actually.
Russian coach getting involved, and it will be a contested foul, according to the hand signals used by Westblad. So the Swedes stay with the disc, and the Russians need to work hard yet again if they want to generate the much-needed turn. And Angergaard with the disc, moving it to Larsson. Larsson around to the break side. Back to Angergaard. Angergaard centers to Kolmsche. Again, up line to Angergaard.
Very tight defense there by the Russians, and as I say, there's a pick call on the field. As we restart the action. The Swedish just overshot, and a great defense by the number 8 shirt of Kazakova as she anticipates that play the Swedes have done all the time, that side them around and just gets a hand of it. And there's no way number 19, Viktorsson, who's been such an anchor for this Swedish team, can come up with that play as the Russians have another opportunity.
Oh no! And that's a very unfortunate throwaway. Oh! And they get it straight back!
Exciting action here.
All right,
Let's
calm down, everyone. No! I cannot believe this.
Another one. Oh, that must be mental.
So that was 3 turnovers in a row. Sweden now with a chance to score quite quickly. Angergaard fakes the hammer. Now she can't find a reset. Russia effectively shutting down the options. Vasyukova almost gets a hand on there. And an inside throw has been caught by
both of those
players. Koshmanova signaling a contest there, but it seems like the disc will stay with Larsson. And Larsson faking the inside forehand. Doesn't take it. And then another one of those.
Amazing
for
shot
Viktorsson. What a set play for the Swedes. The Russians able to get it off of them once, but then the second attempt, Viktorsson just too open in the end zone. And just that little dish. What a cute little cheeky play from the Swedes. Unbelievable. Well, this is just unfortunate for the Russians. Look at that again.
Amazing.
Wow. Just steps
Great
back.
composure.
And a forehand blade right over the head
I'd
of the
assume-
poaching defender.
I'd assume they play a lot of indoor in Sweden, do they not? That would-
And they are not afraid to
No.
take it outside.
I love it. Love the look. Also, I love the spirit of the Russian player. Earlier, when they were contesting, where there was that contested catch where both of these players had the disc in their hands, but the Russian player said, "Okay, it's if we are in doubt, the offensive player gets the disc without even talking about it. You know, just showing great spirit on both teams there. I love how, even though the matchup is very, very tight, the Russians still work on that and improve that every time I watch them again
So
and again.
12-10 for Sweden. Russia staying close, staying tight, but they need to convert and hold their O points if they want to stay in this game. They need another one of those quick ones so that they can focus on getting the breaks back. Great uplines. We've got Stakova now with the disc, moving it to Kazakova. Kazakova now finding Vasyukova. And Vasyukova's got that backhand open and she takes it. There's too many players underneath. Who's gonna read it best? And it's gonna be number 13, Aurora Jonsson, getting a hand on that.
But there's a foul call on the field as there's a pile of players all wanting to get that disc, because we see the replay right here. The amazing backhand shot and a pile of players, all Russians and Swedish players, running under that disc, trying to get that in the grab, and then just a bit of contact
I
there.
think this is Kazakova sort of saying that she felt somebody on her back when she was trying to jump up. I don't think that was intentional. However, I saw a hand there on the back. It could have been the contact that prevented that jump. We can have, or you fans at home can have another look and judge for yourself. Very difficult for me to decide here.
In my opinion, there might have been contact, but also the disc was very high up, rather. So I don't.
Maybe out of reach, regardless.
Yeah,
I see.
it looks like it was too high for either player to actually get there. But they will. I'm sure they will discuss it on the field. And
after 15 seconds, just as at EUC, we will have the Spirit captains get involved in the discussions. And then there's another 45-second mark, I believe, which means an automatic contest of the respective call.
Exactly. And you know, this time around, there's a new thing. We actually have a small screen where players could ask for the replay of that play. Since we have, you know, footage of it, they could come over and look at their play and give their opinion.
And I think it's a great opportunity as long as it's not overused. Just
Exactly.
for all these difficult or heated calls,
So
I think it might help out quite a bit. But here the players managed to solve it themselves. The call will be contested and it goes back to Vasyukova.
Will we see another backhand lefty put from Vasyukova? What do you think,
I
Rachel?
wouldn't be against it.
Me
I
neither.
enjoy it.
I think everybody does.
And the Russians move the disc forward. And an inside forehand for the score. Not too hard for number 17, Leontieva, with the assist. And the teams will call a timeout.
A great composure there. Oh, there's a timeout called by Sweden.
I'm not sure now.
So by one of the teams. And I love the composure the Russians show. There's been an upset with that call that was rather contested, and still they managed to keep it calm and just, you know, get some flow back and easily put the disc into the zone by hitting the open options, not taking too much of a risk there, and just, you know, rely on their strength and rely on their team.
That's right. So Russia, regardless or notwithstanding their short roster, they stay tight on the back of the Swedes.
As we are now having a game to 13.
I see. So thank you for our little Irish helpers running around in their leprechaun outfits, telling us what the time is, how much time we have left, and what the game is going to be to, which is 13, and you can see that on your screens as well now. And Russia desperately in need of a break, so I'm sure they have their best D-line on right now, and I hope they make this game exciting.
As we can see, Eriksson is a rather well-known Swedish player here to support the U20 squad as the pole goes up for Sweden to collect it.
Sweden centers the disc. Russia coming up with a zone. With a great surprise look. Sweden now stuck on the sideline.
Rather unusual.
Lindberg cutting through.
Rather unusual to come up with a new defensive setup at the very end of this game.
But at actually a great change of pace though for Sweden, slowing them down for sure. They have to take the 1,000 passes. One of them, which will go out of bounds just as I say that.
Exactly, but they look pretty content with just, putting up small dishes over and over again.
But that's exactly what the Russian defense wanted you to think. Yes. You're fine, there's not too much pressure. You guys can take the 1,000 passes. But as we say that, they throw it away. But I'm sure they're more than ready to get back on D. And Russia will need to show their strongest performance right now if they want to get one of the break back and stay in the game. So that's Leontieva centering the disc. Now Stakova, back to Leontieva. She's now looking. Oh! Did she get a hand on that? I didn't see that. The player's blocking the view quite a bit. It's difficult to stay behind the 3-meter line now with the game getting so close. And the Swedes again up against the Russian zone. Can they get another turnover out of these Swedish women? Lots of movement. Opening up the field. Now through the middle.
Great stuff
getting through the first cup. Can they keep going? And now Angegård, the most experienced player on the team. She keeps going. The first cup is broken. Now shy of the end zone. Russia transitioning to matchup D. Can the Swedes adjust? And an hammer over the top for the Leon score! What a way to end the game for the Swedes! What a clinical offense! What a great grab! What a game! The Swedes,
amazing,
just all over the place, Christina. Laying out on the D, laying out on the O, hammers over the top. Wow. What a great, strong performance. Sum up the game for us, Christina.
Yeah.
Let the fans know what they missed if they've just tuned in.
Well, they've missed an intense game of both sides just fighting so hard for every single one, and I think that last point summed up the whole game perfectly. It was just both teams trying their best with all they had, and just in the end, the Swedes being a little more clinical and just enough, just a tiny little bit of daringness at the end.
I completely agree. It was the story of the game in that last point. Just Russia, pushing and getting back, but at the same time, just Sweden having the upper hand and the more daringness and all those cheeky throws that you were talking about. And that's exactly what I really loved about the team all along. Anyway, we hoped all of you at home enjoyed this game. Russia against Sweden. Sweden taking the game 13-11 for the win. there will be more, I believe, men's action this time. No,
actually, we have another women's game streamed.
Another women's game.
Yes.
Excellent. Some more women's action happening.
Women's action.
My name was Rachel Toshnarova, and I was joined by Kristina Obamaya, and we'll be looking forward to talking to you guys very soon.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Tune in for the next game, which is going to be Hungary facing Austria in the women's division of under U17. So, see you soon. Stay with us.
See you soon.